Yourself in the mirror on the restroom door. Voices in her head that mirror what she's heard before.
Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima. I'm just stopping in for a quick reading for the Capricorn full moon that we've got sort of taking place today on the 24th of June. Before I do forget, I hope you're having a bomb ass day today. I hope that the Capricorn full moon is treating you well, and I'm sending you so much positive vibes for this very grounding full moon that we've got coming at the minute, just kind of really helping us to recalibrate since the eclipse seasons sort of took place and probably left us feeling like, you know, what the hell just happened. So on that note, before I do get into it, a little disclaimer guys, these are going to be general readings. This is going to be a pick a crystal reading. I'm usually, as of late, behind the actual camera doing these, so now you guys get to see me on camera and I can, you know, give you guys an opportunity to see what's behind card number 1 and 2 and 3. And then we can just kind of like go ahead and chop it up. So we've got the sodalite crystal, which is crystal number 1. We've got the rhodolite crystal, which is crystal number 2, and we've got the Indian moonstone, which is crystal number 3 for this Capricorn full moon season. And we're pretty much just going to get a message from the universe to sort of see how to actually work with the energies of this Capricorn full moon. We do have a lot sort of taking place on the day of the Capricorn full moon, no less. Definitely be sure to check out the astrology forecast that I've done for this Cancer season. That will probably give you a little bit more information about the transit for this Capricorn full moon as well, if you can keep up with all the information. But all of that awesomeness out of the way, before I do get into diving deep into what's actually unfolding for us guys, if you do like my vibe and you want to be a part of the tribe, be sure to subscribe. And if you do like the content, give me a thumbs up, okay? Comment down below and let me know how you've been able to effectively utilize the information to actually navigate through this Capricorn full moon. My moon's in Capricorn, so this one is definitely going to impact me quite drastically emotionally, and I wanted to be able to kind of, you know, see what it's going to be doing for us as a collective. So all of that awesomeness out of the way, let's get into it guys. So the overall message from the universe is that, you know, we are the dreamer of our dream, and we have to be able to remember that sometimes, because a lot of the times we are constantly consuming the projections of others, and no doubt that does obviously impact our dream in essence, because then the dream is altered, it's changed, it's you know, going through a process of I'm gonna stick with the word alterations because that's how I'm sort of like seeing it. It's like body modification to a dream, right? And you are the dreamer of your dream, and it's about making sure that you're staying authentic when you're sort of like navigating through the process of bringing some of those dreams into manifestation. What I do want to sort of say with that is, you know, for this Capricorn full moon, so it seems like at the bottom of the deck we've got this card in reverse. And I'm just going to read it to you. I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. So what this is telling me, where this energy is introverted, it's letting me know that we are not doing everything basically that's necessary to kind of like bring the dream into manifestation. We may be telling ourselves that we're doing all that we can do, whether it means being a better person, whether it means actually letting go of certain things to be able to kind of elevate our vibration, or at least let go of certain things so that our avatar can sort of transcend certain vibrations of its genetic genome and makeup. Or whether it's actually just putting certain things into action, you know, either way, you really have to be willing to do what it takes to actually get closer to your dreams. And you have to be mindful not to let the, I guess, perspective of others sway you too far. Of course, peer pressure is a real thing. Back home in Jamaica, we call it fashion following. So try your best not to follow what is in the fashionable trend, because your dream may be something that is uniquely individual to many other things that are already out there. Obviously, there's nothing new under the sun at this point, as they say, but it does mean that we're able to kind of bring evolved aspects or evolved creative expressions to the forefront, you know. And with that being said, it's really just about making sure that you are pretty much living in your authenticity and being transparent with yourself about your authenticity, because what I'm seeing is that some people may be kind of trying to hide certain parts of themselves, or some people may be not aware of certain parts of themselves, and I say not aware, I mean consciously, because subconsciously you're aware of everything. It's by choice. Everything you're actually aware of. What you choose to be aware of becomes apparent in the conscious mind. Now it goes onto the browser screen. It's no longer just whatever's in the hard drive, if you will. Okay, so you've got the opportunity to pretty much decide to dream as big as you can dream, but be willing to actually show up authentically in order for that dream to manifest. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to try and keep this short for you guys. I say that all the time, but you guys know how this is by now. Let's have a little look and see what is actually coming for us as a collective during this Capricorn full moon energy, spirit. What do you see coming for us as a collective during this Capricorn full moon energy? Okay, nice, guys. Look at this. That's what's up, y'all. I'm sorry, I cannot contain my smile. This is a daughter value. Okay, so this is a daughter value, and again, ties into what I was trying to say to you. Release the deceit, okay? Release the deception. There are certain things that you probably regret doing. There's certain things that you still need to forgive yourself to be able to actually like elevate yourself into that timeline, so that you can quantum leap into that timeline. This is a daughter value. That's what's actually happening for us. This is a daughter value. We're actually having new beginnings, new opportunities, new turnarounds, new tides are changing in terms of our ability to bring in financial success, in terms of our ability to bring in financial stability. What I do want to say as well with this is it's really a case of us kind of learning how to appreciate the process of our personal healing. You know, it's like I said, hiding from certain parts of ourselves, or distracting ourselves, or deflecting ourselves, or disassociation. Let me put this across. Disassociation sometimes is a necessary armor, but we have to be mindful of when we are utilizing disassociation. Are we just basically hiding our shadows in the dark and disassociating from them because they make us feel like a bad person? And a lot of the times with those types of dynamics, people actually don't know how to process their demons because they don't want to actually admit that that is an actual part of their character, that is an actual part of their personality traits. And unfortunately, in order for you to be able to quantum leap onto your timeline, there are certain parts of yourself that needs to be dissipated. So when those parts of yourself is dissipated, you'll actually be able to naturally disassociate. So it's one of those things where you're, how can I put it? Because they're showing it to me. It's one of those things where there's certain parts of you that is no longer serving you, my loves. And that's the whole concept of, that's the point of the whole concept of things that are no longer serving you. It's getting to a place of disassociating from those things, or those things naturally falling away as you're growing further and further, or deeper and deeper into your healing. You have to let go of the mask. You have to take off the mask in order to be able to really step into this door of value. You have to be completely transparent with yourself. You have to be 100% real with who you are, how you show up in the world, how other people may experience you based on your behavioral traits, mannerisms, and patterns, and how you're actually engaging with your own identity. Okay, because we've literally just finished up eclipse season, like I mentioned. So we've pretty much just had, especially because we had like a solar return the last moon cycle, that eclipse was definitely kind of allowing for a lot of ego deaths to take place. So there were a lot of old identities that has dissipated. So we've disassociated from those egoic identities, but it's really about being clear about why they no longer serve us, to be intentional in the actual reprogramming that we're doing, you know, because when you kind of like say goodbye to something, you kind of have to plant something. You have to plant a new seed in its place. Otherwise you leave your garden bare, and then you kind of leave yourself susceptible to whatever to grow in there. And you know, when we leave ourselves susceptible in this dimension, we can actually just be open to anything. And I mean anything. Like there will be demons from 5 generations, 6 generations ago that decides that it wants to activate itself genetically, simply because we hadn't necessarily finished the reprogramming process. So the actual, I guess, unfolding for us, what's taking place for us is that we're at a door to value, but we have to be willing to be completely honest with ourselves about what our own personal values are, so that the universe can pay the price of those values. I hope that that makes sense to you, because there's certain things that you value, and those values are basically your price. That's the price that other people may have to pay to be able to be in relationship with you, or you may have to pay the price to be in relationship with other people. There are certain behaviors, there are certain mannerisms, there are certain disciplines that certain people hold in high regard as their values, you know, and we're going through a process of really understanding our personal values by being completely transparent with ourselves, guys. It's very, very important. Okay. Let's have a little look and see what's our hopes and fears. What are our hopes and fears as a collective as we're navigating through this Capricorn full moon energy? What are our hopes and fears, spirits? Okay. Hopes and fears. Interesting. Do you know what? It's so funny because this was literally the kind of space again for us in general for this Cancer season. So definitely sort of like keeping in track. So the hopes and fears is that we may be needing to rest in order to sort of like quantum leap into the adjacent possibilities. So we'll be closing old doors out and we'll be opening new doors. So we're quantum leaping from one reality or one timeline to the next. In order for us to do that, we have to be a vibrational match to that timeline to be able to kind of manifest within the dimension of that reality. So it seems as though at the minute we're going through a process of rest and rejuvenation. Some of us feel as though there's the hope is that we'll be able to kind of you know, get the opportunity to rest and create this new beginning at the same time. The fear is that whilst we're resting, we may be losing out on opportunities that we are potentially waiting for, whether it's communication, incoming communication. Some of us are still trying to figure out how to be able to articulate certain things, which is why we're kind of resting and we are going into introspection and we are contemplating what is the best way to be able to kind of like, I guess, go about manifesting these adjacent possibilities. But it seems as though there's potentially some hostility beneath the surface. So our fear is on high alert, which means that we're actually having to navigate through a lot of hostility by the looks of it. We're having to be very, very resourceful, navigating through hostile environments. And it seems as though we're actually just resting. We're actually just resting. The hope is that we can rest. Sorry, like I said, the fear is that if we rest for too long, it's one of these things where our kindness can be perceived as a weakness. So it's almost like if we take too long of a time to kind of like speak up and speak out, there's this fear that to claim the things that we want, that is, there's this fear that we may just miss certain opportunities. But let me say this to you: what is for you will never pass you, and what isn't for you will never be deposited into you. Okay, that's just something that I would say to keep in the back of your mind as a personal mantra, I guess, for this Capricorn full moon season. I'm going to plug that below. Again, I'll repeat it. What is for you will never pass you, and what isn't for you will never be deposited into you. It's simply a you know, the whole concept of law of attractions. It is that kind of reactionary engagement, you know, where one thing is responding to the next. So what isn't for you will never be deposited into you because you are not a vibrational match to it. What is for you will never pass you because you are a direct vibrational match to it. And it's almost like the universe is delivering this personally to you, wherever you are in the world. Okay, right. So what is the outcome closing out the space during this Capricorn full moon, spirit? What is the outcome for us as a collective closing out the space? Okay, we've got a lot going on. Right, so it seems as though I'm going to grab that other card, guys. Bear with me. Okay, so what we've got here as far as the outcome is patience. Okay, we're definitely going to have to practice the art of patience during this Capricorn full moon. Again, the hope and fear is that we need to rest. So there's definitely a resting period that is necessary, regardless of how we feel about it. What we need to do, because there's not the garden isn't ripe, basically. The seeds that you've been tending to, the seeds that you've been planting, whatever you were doing at the Capricorn New Moon season 6 months ago, some of those seeds are now sort of being cultivated. So it's not harvest season, is what I'm saying. It's not harvest season for those seeds just yet. But it is time to start sort of like pruning the soil, watering the actual plant, making sure that those seeds are really actually like getting the very best opportunity to grow, you know. What I'm seeing as well is that there's definitely a emotional balance that's here for you, provided that you're willing to be patient. And trying not to overthink things too much is definitely going to be it's going to be instrumental in how you actually play out the process of what's naturally unfolding for you, for us as a collective, during this Capricorn full moon. Right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty of it all. We're going to start off with crystal number 1. So crystal number 1 is the sodalite crystal. This is for, I feel like anybody who chose this crystal, as per usual, you're sort of struggling potentially with an imbalanced throat chakra. So you may be dealing with self-esteem issues, or you may be overcoming self-esteem issues. And speaking your personal truth is very, very important for you during this Capricorn full moon. But it's also about how you choose to speak, how you choose to articulate yourself, how you choose to express yourself. Because sometimes people shut down not just because of what you're saying, but how you're saying the things that you're saying and where you're coming from. So what energy you're using to be able to direct the force of communication with and to someone else. Be mindful of that. But yeah, what I can see for you guys. So you guys have a lot going on. I guess the message from the universe for you guys is that hope is the conduit of miracles. Okay. What it's letting me know is that because there's a few cards here for you and they're all in reverse. You're not necessarily in a place where you're looking at situations from a place of love. Unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of trauma. You're not allowing for yourself to be entirely free. There's a lot of mental restrictions because of your emotional disruptions, from what I can see. And what you need to know is that hope, again, we spoke about being able to kind of like implement the new programming, as opposed to just, you know, removing the old program and just leaving space for anything. When we leave space for anything, in most cases, that usually takes us onto Shadow Island. And we go to the heart hospital ward and we sit there and we have to nurse our inner pains, basically. So when you kind of go through a process of, you know, healing, you have to be mindful that it's an ongoing process, and it's about reprogramming as you move through it as well. Okay. What I'm also seeing is that you're not in a place of accepting that the universe is your primary teacher. The love language of the universe is meeting your every need and desire. Like the universe, however, so the universe, I want to say, like, expresses itself in all of the different love languages, words of affirmations through other individuals, gifts of, you know, gifting, acts of service, you know, like utilizing different avatars to be able to do all of these different things for you. You're not necessarily at a place where you're letting love be the teacher for your experience, to guide you back to the place of the light within yourself. So you may feel insecure. So you may be at a place of feeling low self-esteem based on some of the traumas that you're navigating through. But hope is basically going to be the tool for you. That's what the universe is advising. Hope is going to be the tool for you because you don't understand what the universe is doing right now for you as love, and you're seeing it as hate and abuse, and it's triggering your previous traumas, even though the universe is actually helping you to heal those by actually highlighting the very parts of yourself that is out of alignment with love. You're going to need to utilize hope to be able to get back to the place of light within yourself. Okay. Right, let's move on to crystal number 2, which is the rhodolite crystal. Rhodolite crystal, guys, is awesome for I want to say third eye and also crown chakra, technically, because the two are interconnected. They're interdependent on each other, if you ask me personally. So rhodolite crystal is great if you are struggling to be able to kind of get foresight, if you are overthinking, and that's clouding your judgment to be able to see clearly, like, into the future trajectory. Bear with me, guys. Right, guys, so as I was saying, rhodolite is great for psychic activation, essentially. So that being said, let's go ahead and have a look and see what your message is from the universe. Interesting. So for you guys, you have an issue with surrendering, which is why you're struggling with the third eye activation. Sorry, I'm like literally, you guys could probably like hear all the farting noises, if you will, but I'm literally just making myself comfortable. You may have, nope, they're saying you definitely have. So you definitely have some issues with surrendering. So it's like you want these things or whatever it is that you're dreaming. You're not willing to surrender to how the universe is going to be able to bring it to you. You're very specific. And when you're working your intention, when you're working your love, light, magic, the most successful magic, if you will, when utilizing your intentions to be able to cultivate the life you want for yourself, essentially, the most successful form of that is to be able to be open, to let the universe work and find the absolute best probabilities for you and bring you into that timeline. You have to be willing to surrender. So in any moment, you have to be willing to surrender to the presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. So again, one of the things is that we need to rest. So you may be a part of the collective that is struggling with the idea that you need to rest because you just feel like you need to constantly be on the go for you to feel like you have value or you're fulfilling purpose or you're actually doing something. Resting and stillness in itself is actually doing something as well. It's preparation. It's preparation mode. You're kind of giving your avatar an opportunity to recalibrate in preparation for future action to be taken. You know, another thing that I'm seeing for you guys as far as the message from the universe wants you to know that you are the loving energy of the universe. So you don't have to be in fear of having to be still. You don't have to be in fear of of being asked by the universe to really contemplate what it is that you want. Be still and contemplate what it is that you want so that you can clearly define what it's going to take for you to get there. Okay? The universe is also letting me know, well, it's also sort of like showing that you're actually out of alignment. You're actually out of alignment with your third eye's perspective. You know, you're out of alignment with your third eye's perspective, which is why you I'm just gonna keep it real, y'all. That's why you're not gonna manifest it right now, because that's what I'm seeing. You're not going to manifest it right now because you're out of alignment and it's actually not in alignment with what you truly desire. It may be a short-term egoic thing, because that's how I'm hearing it. It may be an egoic identity that is trying to manifest a specific thing at the minute, and you just keep forcing it and pushing it. But the universe wants you to know that when you're in alignment with the love of the universe, your peace cannot be disrupted. Whereas right now, your peace is constantly being disrupted because the universe is saying to you, no, that's a closed door, my love. You know, the security guard for the universe is saying, that's a closed door, my love. You can't go in there because that requires a certain vibration of people. And in fact, you may not even be a suitable match to that. If you go down the hallway, take the next left, go down 2 doors and enter into the door on your right, that seems more feasible and appropriate for you. But the thing about it is, sometimes when we have ourselves in a ideology of how we want things to be, it's difficult for us to kind of like let the universe guide us. It's difficult for us to kind of like say, okay, God, take the wheel. Whatever you actually like decree to be necessary at this point, I'm open to that. So it's one of those things where I feel like for this Capricorn full moon, that's really what's going to be showing up. We're going to sort of like see all the aspects of ourselves that are, well, whoever chose the rhodolite crystal, you're going to be able to see all the aspects of yourself that is out of alignment with the things that you think you love. It may not necessarily be love, it might be infatuation, okay? And you may want those things for all the wrong reasons, and the universe is saying now is not the time for it, okay? Which is why your third eye is pretty much kind of like experiencing some difficulties. And instead of praying for an outcome, the universe's advice for you is to pray for the highest good for all. Okay, so you're not just out here like trying to create a timeline based on what you think is best for yourself, because there are other people more than likely that will be impacted by your choices and decisions. So the universe wants you to pray for the outcome that is going to be of the overall best good for everybody involved, and not just for what you feel is necessary. Okay, all right guys, we are moving on to the final card. We have the Indian moonstone crystal. So for those of you guys who's chosen the Indian moonstone crystal, what I would say is that you may be going through a lot of emotional turbulence right now. It may be a situation where your tides are constantly erratic. Your emotional tides are constantly erratic, and it's difficult for you to kind of keep on top of what's taking place internally. Okay, on that note, let's go ahead and have a look and see what's actually your message from the universe. Interesting. So the first thing that I'm seeing is that you're not necessarily so internally, so the best way that I can put it, the universe is saying that the presence of love will always cast out fear, but there's a disbelief to that at the minute. I want to say where you are right now emotionally, you don't believe that love is going to be the thing to help you get onto the timeline of the reality that you're trying to manifest. So what do I mean by that? You may have been severely hurt, dismissed, traumatized, you were disregarded basically. And I feel like what the universe is saying is that, and I'm getting really emotional on this one, so whoever's kind of like chosen this moonstone crystal, what I would say to you is that your emotional turbulence is clouding your judgment. Your emotional turbulence is clouding your, and I don't mean your human's judgment, because again, your human's going to be reactive to the environment because it's designed for that, but it's clouding your soul's assignment. So your soul has an assignment here, and a lot of the work that we're doing is going to show up as emotional turbulence, because that's the way that the human interprets the soul's assignments. And we have to be able to kind of navigate through those emotional turbulence and kind of like get to the goals that we're sort of trying to get to. But it seems as though you feel as though your walls are very, very tight right now. They're very much up, and you are very much in a place where you feel as though love isn't the answer, unfortunately. You feel as though your love has been unprotected. You feel as though your love has been in a position of, there's just not an emotional safety there, which is why you're actually scared. Now, let's tap into this, guys. You're hypervigilant because your fear is on high alert, and your fear is on high alert because it's trying to let you know that there are certain things that you still need to process. Now, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to be able to process those things so that you can come out of this place of pretty much creating from a place of fear. Because what's happening right now is that the more you continue to manifest and create from this space, unfortunately, you're going to continue to bring more of the things that you already fear based on your past experiences, based on the trauma that you're still engaging with psychologically. So you kind of have to be mindfully aware that attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. That's your body calling out for help. That's literally what I've just said to you guys. You know, that's your body calling out for help. Your body saying, look, I've gone through this situation. I haven't processed it. I don't know how to process it. Can you help me? You're the soul in charge of that body. So you have to figure out how to help that your body navigate through these things, because we spoke about it before. When you are quantum leaping from one timeline to the next, you have to be a vibrational match to that timeline. Again, it's the whole process of law of attraction. If you're not a vibrational match to that timeline, you can't get there. And the feelings of attack, pain, fear, and judgment are the things that are holding you back right now. It's separating you from the very thing that you want, the very timeline that you desire. And I guess closing out your message from the universe wants you to know that Your capacity to tune into the energy of love gives you the words that you need when you're ready to speak up. And let me make that very clear, when you're ready to speak up. Not everything is worth speaking on. Bless you. Not everything is worth speaking on, but when you're ready to speak up, the universe will be able to kind of give you the words of love to express and articulate yourself, the compassion that you need when it's time for you to forgive. And remember, forgiveness isn't just for other people, it's really for yourself. It's really for yourself. Even if you choose to forgive someone else for their shortcomings or the way that they've shown up in your relationship, you have to forgive yourself for allowing that pattern to take place, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to disassociate and disengage from that pattern neurologically, right? This is how you deprogram your human. By forgiving yourself, you actually disengage from that pattern and create space for a new reality to take place. So your human now knows, okay, what I do in this situation is that I don't allow this type of behavior towards myself anymore. It's not something that I do. And when you find yourself in those situations, your human pretty much, because now you're in control, because you've basically, you've deactivated your, how can I put it? You've deactivated the psychological pattern that has been embedded, the psychological coding that has been embedded, that you have to accept certain behaviors, more than likely based on how you were raised as a child, because that's when we're more susceptible to other people's projections, and the adults around us tell us what to expect from life, right? And it's based on their own expectations and their experiences. Now, as adults, and we grow into our own realization of who we are as individuals, we get the right to be able to actually elevate and evolve in some of those programmings. And forgiveness is a way to be able to allow for yourself to be compassionate towards yourself, because a lot of the times we're so, compassionate to other people and their experiences and what they go through and what they've been through and what they're probably gonna go through, but we're so disconnected from ourselves. We can't use our words to be able to articulate what we feel, because we're so disconnected from actually processing a lot of those feelings. Forgiveness gives you the room to be able to start again. It gives you the room to be able to say, do you know what? I do matter. And because I matter, I know how important other people in my life are. Because if you discount yourself, you can't expect for anybody else to actually see your value, unfortunately. So if you're not willing to be compassionate towards yourself, don't expect anybody else to be. Okay, it's just that simple, unfortunately. But you are going to be sort of asked to, implement the charge, if you will, by forgiving yourself, the charge of compassion by forgiving yourself. And know that you have the power you need to find your way back to who you rightfully are, and the power source being your soul that is occupying your body. Okay, you have the power to actually find your way back to who you authentically are when you feel lost. Why? Because it's a lot of the times, right, we get lost because we are constantly navigating through other people's projections. It's spiritual warfare, man. We're literally trying to identify, look, this is me as a spiritual being, this is who I am, and we're constantly having to navigate through other people's opinions and their projections and their viewpoints on our experience of ourselves and so many other aspects of the situation, right? You're all you need when you're lost. That is facts. You're actually all you need when you're lost. You just have to be willing to be humble enough, as far as letting your human know that, how can I put it? There are many aspects of you. There are many aspects of you. Your soul is going to be able to guide your human back into the right path, but also your human needs to be able to engage with your soul to say, oh, I'm scared, or this makes me feel bad, or I don't want to go down here. Can you help me? There has to be a team effort in engaging with the process. But yeah, just know that if you're willing to forgive both of yourselves, your soul and your human self, because they'll both make mistakes, if you will, along the way, learning each other. But as long as you're willing to just be open and honest and authentic to yourselves, I think that that's the overall message here. Remember, we started off with a message from the universe being that you are the dreamer of your dream, and you have to be willing to let that be expressed through you, because God is utilizing you for something very special. And if you're constantly basically letting the trends dictate what your dreams are, you will get lost in all of that stuff. Because your purpose is an individual experience, it's an individual unique task, and there's many aspects to it. There's many aspects to it. Every day you wake up, you learn a new aspect of that purpose. And it's really about allowing for yourself to tap into the value of what you're worth. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of finances. I mean as the spirit, as the soul that is occupying that body. That soul is limitless. It has unlimited potential. So the value is whatever you decide to put on it. It's actually that expensive and inexpensive at the same time. It's whatever value you choose to put on it. Okay? On that note, guys, I said it was going to be quick, but you know how this goes. I talk a lot. On that note, I'm going to leave it there for you guys. But thank you guys for hanging in there with me. If you guys, like my vibe and you want to be a part of the tribe, definitely be sure to subscribe. I'd love to have you guys on the team. And be sure to give me a thumbs up if you actually appreciated the content, if you were able to stick around for long enough. And be sure to comment down below and let me know how you've been able to effectively utilize the information that I've been able to provide to you in this reading. On that note, I'm going to love you guys and leave it there for you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, namaste. Mwah. God bless. Take care, guys. Ta-ra.
They said to hold her back, they never seem to leave her head and tend to keep her minded.